Welcome to Bary's RC channel. I'm at the point in my life where I wanted to share some of the experience that I've gotten over the years that could help some to save a lot of time and headache. Maybe some tricks and tips that you never thought of. As you know, flying helicopters is one of the most difficult things to learn. It takes a long time to learn. But some of the things that have helped me have been using smaller helicopters, such as this one right here, the HK 110, and then the newer version they came out with is the HK 110S. Now with these small helicopters, something that you have to keep in mind is that the batteries are very critical. You get a lot of flight time, a lot of use out of the batteries, and the batteries look like this, one cell pack, and you need a decent computerized charger to make sure that these are not overcharged and charged to the right capacity. Now, I'm not recommending this necessarily, but it's up to you what charger you pick out. This is the one that I bought, can charge 4 batteries at the same time, and it's a digital charger, and it charges them only to the point that they're fully charged, and then it turns off. It doesn't keep charging afterward. Now, the little chargers that come with the helicopter are totally unreliable. They may charge your battery, but most of the time they're going to overcharge it and damage the battery. Now, you get many uses out of these batteries if you watch your flight time, set your timer for say 4.5 minutes to 5 minutes, and don't exceed that. And then when you charge them at a slow rate and charge them to their capacity, and I've had very good success with that. I want to give some props out to John Salt and his videos. Helped me very much on starting out. I had some experience with airplanes. I knew something about dual rates and expo on airplanes, but I'd never set that up on a helicopter. Well, if you try to fly your little helicopter when it's not in 6G mode, but in regular mode, flight mode, 3D mode, and you don't set, this thing is a handful. Anybody that's flown one can tell you they can get out of control really fast. But by watching his video and setting up your dual rates and your expo, you can tame that thing down to where you can really learn at a very good pace, have good success with it. So that's one option to start out with. So bringing up dual rates and that sort of thing, I recently had been flying my little bit bigger helicopters, the Align 450 and Align 470L, and I thought about something and it just made sense to me. And that was, instead of having your dual rates expo set up on a separate switch, I just took my radio, which I use the Futaba, and then you have your 3-position switch here. On Futaba, it's the E switch. So when you go into your different flight modes, I set up my dual rate and expo on my flight mode. That way I don't ever have to worry. So when I'm taking off into normal mode, I'll have easy flight mode set up as far as dual rate and expo. And then when I go into idle up one or stunt mode, I can have my dual rate set up to where I get 100% rates and I get the expo that I need to be able to control things, not get out of control. So I hope that helps you. That's a couple of things that I learned. I've spent some time going back on my helicopters, and one thing I learned is that setup is very important, as we all know. And with flying the 450, I initially started out with the 6L as recommended, and also on my 470L I used the 6L battery pack, and I found that my motor, my ESC was very hot, really overly hot, and running extremely fast on the head speed. Now you can dial down your head speed. That's one way you can deal with that. The other way is to fly a smaller pack. So on both my 470 and my 450L, I'm using 2200 4-cell packs. And I go up to somewhere between 80 and 100% on my head speed as far as throttle curves, but I get plenty of power. The other thing I want to suggest is think about on the 450, this helicopter was basically designed for 325 millimeter blades. And with the 360 blades that come with it, it's a little bit big for the shaft, the main shaft, and all the equipment. So it puts a lot of stress, and you get a lot tamer machine. You get plenty of lift, plenty of speed, plenty of control with 325 blades. Makes it much easier to tune, to dial out vibration, and also to just have a real enjoyable training flight. So if you're starting out and you're wanting a tame helicopter, I recommend that you get a 450L and run 4-cell batteries. And it works just fine. You can use a regular motor, you can use the regular gear ratios that are in the kit, and you can just put on smaller blades, a 325 blade, and you'll have very good success. Now, one of the things I had issues with was on my servos, I was getting excessive heat, especially on my tail servo. So after doing some experimenting, a lot of reading, I found that with the B-Stex controller, you can dial in your refresh rate. Many times they'll have rates listed on your servos are very high, and you can put those rates in there and it'll work, but it makes your servo work hard and get very hot. And I had one servo fail on me in midair, and I crashed the helicopter because the servo was overheating. And it had been overheating for a while, but I didn't know how to fix that. So by dialing down your rates on your B-Stex and putting something like 65 megahertz on your servo instead of say 333, you can check it after a flight, and you'll find that it's very, very cool. There may be a tiny bit of warmth in the servo, but not like it was before. The other thing is that it'll last much, much longer. And you can do the same thing with the cyclic servos. Just take the, turn down all the refresh rates to a smaller amount, and you don't really notice any difference in performance. Now, if you're a 3D smackdown guy, you got to have every little bit of speed, by all means crank it up, but you pay the price in equipment failures. So I recommend, especially if you're starting out, you won't notice any difference if you go with the smaller values and make it easy on your system. So by going with the 4-cell pack and these adjusted settings on the B-Sticks, you'll find that you can really have a cool running machine that'll give you hours and hours and many, many flights of service. So I just wanted to show you that was an option. The other thing, I'm going to try to switch my camera here and show you my helicopter. There we go. Let me get this thing over here where you can see it. Now what I've done, I don't know if you can see this, but on the blades, if you've ever picked up your blades, they were in the blade holder and you grabbed them quickly and that blade holder popped off your main boom right here, then your servos will be extended to the max and possibly damage something. By putting a Velcro strap on here, something similar to what you would use to hold batteries in an airplane, you can feed that under the boom, wrap it over the top, and it helps to hold that down. That's just one of the things that I've found that is very helpful. I'd like to show you. Let me grab this thing, and we'll take the canopy off. Is I see so many individuals with their helicopters, and you'll notice that the wires are running everywhere. So I recommend that you take your time, find places where they can go inside and underneath and back around to where you don't have wires that are getting in the way of your gears or anything like that. Now with this particular helicopter, I'll show you something else, is I've routed the ESC to where it's in the front here, and what I did was I put a strap on there to hold the wires down to make it easy to put the canopy on. The other thing I want to show you is that on this particular helicopter, especially with the 4-cell setup, on the battery tray, I put some weights on the end here. And what that does, it doesn't interfere at all with this snapping into the helicopter. But the helicopter will be slightly tail heavy with the longer boom that it comes with when you're running a light battery pack. By putting these weights on the end of this tray, it will balance much better. It may be neutral to slightly tail heavy, but very manageable. And so that's a little add-on trick that you can do that will make things a lot easier for you. I want to look at my notes and make sure I'm talking about everything that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so another thing I wanted to share with you, back around, is I recently had a failure of the tail servo, which I told you, which was one of the line tail servos. And I've been reading up on the KST 215 MG servo. And I bought one of those, one of my 450s here, that I run with the mini GRS controller. And I put that servo on the tail. Fantastic. Very strong servo, very fast. It's not a dedicated tail servo, so to speak, but it works great, and I highly recommend it. Well, that's all I have today, folks. I'll be coming back with some flight videos, and if you have any questions, please email me. Let me know in the comments what your questions are. I think that this is a growing sport still, and it's very challenging and very rewarding. So I hope everyone has a good time flying their helicopters.